Hello, and welcome to the 6th episode of Young Guns. My name is Tyler,
And my name's Louie.
and today we're going to cover a lot because today is the day before the draft. We have to talk about some contracts that have been signed, some trades that have been made, and of course, the awards, as well as a bit of a Habs talk at the end. So stay tuned for those moments, and let's dive right in. First part of the episode, Lewis, is going to be about contracts. So why don't you start and talk about the first one?
Yeah, so the first contract we've got to talk about is Kevin Hayes. And first of all, let's say the contract. The contract is $50 million for 7 years. Now, the thing you got to know about this contract is that Philadelphia, well, originally Kevin Hayes was set to hit the open market as a UFA, but Philadelphia decided to trade for his rights to get exclusive rights to try to sign him before he hit the open market. So they traded a fifth-round pick, and I mean Winnipeg, wasn't really gonna sign him, and they just got a fifth-round pick because they knew they weren't gonna get him anyway. He was gonna hit the open market. So the annual value is 7.142 point blah blah blah. So it's just a hair above $7 million per year. And I mean, personally, both the length and the actual money involved really has me scratching my head here because although I'm a fan of Kevin Hayes, he's a good playmaker and like solid overall like second line center, like he can play that role for your team. I just don't see that the value is there to have him sign for $7 million a year. Funny fact, like people might not know this, Kevin Hayes has only hit 20 goals once in his career. And he'll average around like at least like 15 goals a year. I'd say he'll get you like 15 goals and a pile of assists, but I mean, I just don't see it like $7 million.
Um,
Like,
Let me enlighten you a bit. I just looked up his stats. First of all, let's give a bit of about Kevin Hayes. He's 27 years old and he's 6'5". So that's a really good height, as you said, to have like a second line center, or depending on the team, maybe third line. And um, he
well, I mean,
had.
if you're saying third line, he's like 7.7 million for your third line center. Like,
I'm just saying, like, let's
I
say he
don't
was on
know.
Pittsburgh, he would be like the third center. Like, we can agree on that. But he had 54
Yeah.
points, 19 goals, and 35 assists. That's surprising to me. And 7 million for a 54-point guy. That's, I think, like a trend nowadays. Although I don't think he's worth that money. He does have strong points that are good for any team. Like, I remember watching him when he was against the Habs for the Rangers. He was actually like a big body, and he was really good with using his size and stuff. And I think that he will bring that to the Flyers and their identity. And of course, I agree with you on the fact that 7 years is too much, and I also agree that the money is too much. But I just think that is now a trend in the NHL. Like, I think more and more guys are overpaid. Contracts are going to be bought out, just like Corey Perry that we saw yesterday being bought out.
Yeah, but I mean Corey Perry, he was a legitimate superstar, and I mean it wasn't really even Corey Perry being bought out. It was like the ghost of Corey Perry. He was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
so injured. It was basically the ghost of Corey Perry on the ice.
exactly.
But like I don't know. I just don't really feel because yeah he's 6'5" and he can throw his weight around a little bit. I don't think that he plays that physical.
Yeah, I'd
And
agree.
like Philadelphia isn't even that much of a physical team anymore. Like that's the reputation that they've had for their history, but and for me, yeah, like I agree with you that people are being paid more money now, but for a $7 million guy, like I would expect more like 65 point range, not 55. Like, and I just I don't see him as that guy. Like he's a good player, and I'm sure Philadelphia is happy to have him, but I think the length is too long, and I think that this is the kind of contract where it's like if you're trying to sign someone in the future, this is the one where you're gonna be like, oh, I wish we didn't sign that guy, or I wish we had like an extra couple million. I feel like
Yeah,
these are the
I
contracts that
agree.
kind of put you in a hole.
Yeah, I definitely
But
agree
either
with you.
way, Either way, I think it can be seen as both ways, and like I think if he really plays well, then he'll play up to that value. We'll just have to see, really.
Yeah, and I think it's a piece that the Flyers don't really have. They don't really have that much size, so I think he just brings something different to their recipe.
Yeah. Well,
And
they're blowing it up,
yeah,
so I guess maybe a change will be good too. I don't know. We'll see.
next up is Eric Carlson. A few facts on him: he's 6 foot, he's 29 years old, and he had 45 points in 53 games last year. As you may know, Carlson is known for being like pretty much constantly injured, although he did have three 82 game seasons. But recently he's gotten injured after that like brutal injury in the past. And he signed
Yeah.
for, I believe, if this is correct, correct me on this, 11.5 mil for 8 years with the San
Yeah.
Jose Sharks. What do you think?
Uh, I mean, Eric Carlson's a. This is such a tough one because he's such a great defenseman. Like, whenever I think Eric Carlson, I think of that that one pass to Hoffman where he just like launched it over the whole Boston team and put it right on his tape,
Yeah,
and then Hoffman did the, I think it was like the toe drag, or no, what is it? It's
one-handed,
like the
one-hander.
the Barkov, yeah. So it's like, you pay at that point. It's like you got something special that you just can't teach. So I feel like that's what they're paying for. But at the same time, the injury prone nature of Eric Carlson really scares me. Like, I don't. It really depends on what Carlson you're getting. If you're getting the Carlson in the playoffs that was good, but like couldn't really rotate that well and just didn't really seem like the Carlson of old, then I think that definitely 11.5 for 8 years is too much. But also you got to look at it thinking that the cap is going up. Maybe it's not going up that much next season apparently, but over time it will go up, so that will seem like less and less of a big deal. But I mean, personally, it's hard to say this because Carlson, like, even like so much as a year ago, you would be talking about Carlson as like the hands down best defenseman in the NHL. But I think 11.5 for 8 years might be a little bit of a gamble. And I don't say this because so much it's Eric Carlson, but I also say this because it's the Sharks and they're already pretty old. Like,
Yeah,
they're aging. I,
that's
I
why I
don't I
don't.
don't see their window is the next few years. I think their window is kind of past already. So
That's what
maybe
I'm.
for a team that was younger, it would have made more sense.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I just don't understand why they would do it, and especially like this guy is not going to score goals. He's got 3 goals. He's going to make passes, but if like Pavelski's not even resigning, and maybe others, like who's going to put it in the net? Like this guy's a passer, and like you said, he was a really good defenseman, but like he's not that great defensively, at least in my opinion. So I don't know. Like this is a real
Well,
gamble for them. Like you said, I think it's a
I mean,
too
he's
long of
not
a term,
bad.
and it's too much money. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
uh,
I think it's too much term and too much money considering the injuries. I don't think he's bad in his.
yeah, I just think he's gonna make like more mistakes than you want from a guy paid that well.
Yeah,
Like he's gonna be like
that's true.
probably your top two defenseman, and like he makes mistakes pretty
Well,
often.
I don't mind the mistakes because here the thing is, if you're such a puck mover and you're carrying the puck and you're making these plays, then obviously just statistically speaking you're gonna give the puck up more.
Yeah,
But I the thing I'll say with the goals, like, I don't really mind if he doesn't score that much because I don't know if San Jose's sort of offense is really the one that's gonna be like shoot to score. I think he's gonna be trying to create more rebounds and trying to set up the guys, like maybe Evander Kane on the power play or something. Like, I don't really know too much about who's on their power play, but I, it's just the injuries that make me really nervous. Like, if you got a Carlson that can't move, like, that's one essential part of his toolbox that's
yeah,
kind of taken away from him.
exactly what I'm
So
thinking. Like I just and for him, I would think that he wants the cup, and I don't see how he can like think that he's gonna win a cup with the Sharks. But I guess he's got some insider scoop that we don't have or something.
yeah, who knows? Well, maybe it's sunny down there as well, so he didn't want to
Yeah,
go up to Ottawa where it's colder.
maybe the wife didn't actually want to go back home.
Yeah, that seemed kind of iffy to me. Why would you, go back to the place where you got someone in the locker room bullying you for? Well, we won't get into that, but
Yeah.
either way, I don't think the best memories. I think they're gonna leave those memories behind them. But I think in general, Carlson earned the money, but I don't think that San Jose is gonna like the deal a few years down the road. Even though Carlson's always gonna be a special talent.
But as well, like he also has like that big reputation of Eric Carlson, like the defenseman that has 2-time Norris Trophy, 4-time All Star. Like that's a big
Yeah.
thing that he carries that people pay for, like we mentioned in previous
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think we can move on to the next one now. So the next one is the Islanders, another guy that is not hitting the open market. We got Jordan Eberle, 5.5 mil for 5 years. I think it's a pretty good contract. Like he showed that he has a skill especially in the playoffs this
Yeah.
year. Like he showed that he can score. And I would have expected that he would have gone for more money because a lot of times guys get paid for hot playoff runs.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been surprised if he got signed for like 7 mil or something like that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's a pretty fair contract. I don't know about you, but
like you said, like during the season he had like 37 points, 78 games, so that's not too bad. But like in the playoffs, he had an unreal run, like you said. Like and like you said again, players can really build contracts and reputation in the playoff, and I think that's the prime example. And the thing is, I think Lou Lamoriello really did a great job on signing him for 5.5 because that guy has had 65-point seasons before, and
yeah,
he's 29. So like 5 years, he's gonna be 34. That's not like too bad in terms of term, and it's money wise, it's pretty good. And I think the Islanders are gonna go somewhere, especially if Leonard is up to the task.
the task. Yeah, I mean, you think that this would be the kind of year where it's like, okay, I'm 29. This is when I'm gonna really cash in. But no, I mean, 5.5 seems pretty reasonable, all things considered, and uh, it makes me think like maybe Lamorello was kind of like I don't know, maybe he commands like he has this commanding presence because you look at like how the contracts negotiations have been in Toronto where he was earlier, and you got like the
Yeah.
Nylander thing that dragged on, and now the Marner thing that's kind of spinning in circles. But he's just like Eberle, bang, like 5.5 mil. Obviously, it's not the same. Like these Nylander negotiations and everything, like they're a lot harder. But I think he's often underrated. Although he's kind of he's got like a older style, but he's definitely underrated at times. I think.
Yeah,
Leonard will be interesting because apparently Lamorello is very interested in Bobrovsky, or he was very interested in Bobrovsky. So you have to see what the goaltending situation is there. But
yeah,
that's down the road anyway. So
yeah. And I think we can move on to the next one now. This is going to be our last contract talk for this episode. We have Jeff Skinner, who really cashed in with a 63-point season in 82 games. This guy is 27 years old, 5'11", and signed for $9 million a year for 8 years with the Buffalo Sabres. So that's going to put him at around 35 years old at the end of the contract. So we're talking about a sniper who relies on his speed and his skills. So he did 40 this year. Do you think he can like do that again? Do you think this
no, I don't think he can score for. I mean, he might. I think he'll be good. He'll be a good scorer. He might get you 30, like 25, 30. He proved he didn't suck. Like this year, he proved that to everyone he didn't suck. He's a good scorer, and a
because
smart player.
he does have five
Uh,
Well, four seasons of 31 plus goals.
Yeah, no, that's good. He's a no, he's a good scorer. No, I like Skinner as a player, but I mean 9 million for 8 years, like holy cow, that's a
Especially
big
for a guy
contract.
that's known for like injuries, like we've talked about, like Carlson being injured. Like he's got a history for like concussions, and that's like the worst.
Yeah, yeah, I really, I mean, I guess props to Buffalo for getting this their score locked down, but
Yeah,
I really I don't I see it as too much money. Honest, I can't justify 9 million. If you even if and it makes you think like you know, what is like $1.5 million in the grand scheme of things? Like, if it was 7.5 million over 8 years, like maybe I would have been more accepting. The $9 million, that just really seems like a truckload of money for a guy who had a great season, yes, and has a good track record. But I don't think that he's. I think he's the kind of guy on the team that's gonna he's going to stabilize your offense, but he's not really a superstar
yeah,
as I think of it.
yeah.
Like he's a elite. I don't know if he's even elite. He's a star forward. And I don't think he's got the superstar status,
Yeah.
So
And also,
I
like,
think it's kind of bad, but
he really toned down, like, on the second half of the year. So, I don't know. I
yeah.
guess we'll have to see next year. I mean, each of these contracts can be proven wrong by just an amazing or an awful
Oh yeah.
season next year.
If
Like,
all the yeah, either one of these players, if they really drop the ball or if they really play out of their mind, then a lot of people are going to be eating crow either way. But
it's like Tavares, I think,
uh,
had like 5 million or something and made like 80 something points. Like,
yeah,
that's like
and that was one of
really.
the biggest steals. It's like the McKinnon deal. It's like
Yeah.
now everyone's looking at that deal, and it's like, how in the world did that ever happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I think that's
I
pretty
mean,
much.
none of these make me gouge my eyes out, but yeah, some of these I'm really scratching my head. I think
Yeah.
the Skinner and the Hayes one, they have me scratching my head,
Yeah, I think me too the
and then
most.
Eberle, it's like, it's okay, it's fair, and Carlson, he's like such a special talent that maybe I give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that was the first portion of this podcast, the contracts talk. We're gonna jump into trades talk, if you don't mind, Lou.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we have three trades to talk about. We're talking about Truba, Mata, and Braun. So let's start about Truba. He was traded from the Jets to the Rangers for Pionk and a 20th overall draft pick.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts of it, and then I can come in. And,
Well, first of all, my reaction to this trade earlier, like my gut reaction to this trade was like one of total panic because I was on the NHL page and I read Truba for Pionk in the second overall pick, and I was about to like blow a blood vessel because I do cheer for the Rangers. I'd say they're my second team. Uh, and if they traded basically Kako Capo, nope. Oh my God, Capo Kako. There we go. Third time's the charm. These goddamn Finns. I would have really exploded, but I think I like this. I like the deal. I think that Truba's a pretty underrated defenseman. He's kind of like a Jake Gardner, but maybe a bit better, I would say. He's really skilled. Pionk, I like Pionk,
yeah.
but but Pionk and Truba are really not on the same level. And the 20th overall pick is the thing is, yeah, it's a first round pick, but when you get out of the top like 15 or maybe like top 20, and it's basically not that different from like a second or maybe even a high third overall pick. So if you think of it that way, it seems to be a lot less
You never know, man.
impactful.
Pasternak was drafted 25th, 21st overall or something.
Yeah, obviously you never know, but I mean, you're just going off the track record of like most picks.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think like another thing to that you can say to counter that is like you can look at so many NHL stars who were drafted in the second or third round and be like, yeah, well, look at that.
Yeah.
Uh, I, I think it's good that first of all you know where the pick is landing. It's not like a first round pick in 3 years because that's a lot more dangerous. Like maybe that's a lottery pick, you don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Trouba's a great overall defenseman. I think the Rangers are looking to be competitive this year. So I like the trade. I think it's a good all around trade for the Rangers. And I think that the Jets will get like a serviceable defenseman and like a solid pick. Like I'd probably give the Rangers the win on this trade, honestly.
Really.
Um, but I think yeah, you have a differing opinion on that, so I'll let you go ahead
I
and say what you have to say.
I say that the Jets have won this trade because, first of all, like you said, you know where you're gonna pick, and you have a young player. He's 23 years old compared to Trouba, that's 25. And Trouba, I believe he has to re-sign soon, so he's not like a guaranteed player for the Rangers. So that's kind of like
Well,
a
yeah,
gamble.
but here's the thing though. Is like I feel like this kind of deal doesn't get made if the discussions don't like if the Jets would at least be like, okay, this is the range he was thinking, and
Yeah,
this is the term that he was thinking. So I think the Rangers pulled the trigger on this deal knowing this and knowing what it would take
yeah,
to sign Truba. And also credit to the Jets. I don't think the Jets it was going to work because Truba clearly didn't want to be in Winnipeg.
exactly.
So credit to them for like shipping him out at least and having the you know the foresight to actually see that.
Yeah, I just think that they while they have good players, they're also rebuilding at the same time, kind of with a younger defense and a draft pick. But I think on both sides, there's both like winners. I don't think there's a clear uh, one up on any of those teams. I just think that every team got what they wanted, and I'm glad to see that these trades are probably going to become like a trend, like actual like really well thought out trades.
Yeah. No, I think the thing with the Jets is they seem determined to also make other trades like like I don't know potentially Ehlers or Line whatever. We'll get into that at a later date, but they really gotta stay on track and think this stuff out because they can't just go blowing it up and like ripping up their entire core.
Yeah,
I guess
I agree.
we'll see what they do though. But I think we can move on to the next trade now. So the next trade we got Oli Mata for Dominic Calhoun and a fifth round pick in 2019. Um, I don't really understand what the like goal was with this because like it
I
seems to
think it's a
me
cat's
like Mata's well, it seems to me like Mata is like a pretty overvalued. Well, I don't know. Like maybe this is a controversial opinion to me, but I think that like Mata was really good when he first came into the league, and I remember when like he was doing well in the playoffs with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I mean, if I'm not wrong, he had one goal this season, and I just yeah, one goal, 13 assists, 14 points. It really this deal hinges on whether Mata can be good because I mean if he can really find that sort of edge that gave him that like the 9 goal 29 points in 78 games, that's a already a lot better defenseman. uh but the I mean Calhoun is like pretty young center. I like his game, and throwing a pick there as well. Yeah, it seems like a dump to me, but I mean personally, I don't think that I don't like what Chicago did here.
I think Pittsburgh
What's your
won the
opinion on
trade. I think, like you said,
it? Yeah,
Mata has an upside. He's still only 4 million, but he doesn't really give you much. Like Cahoon had more points than he did, which is obvious because like he's a forward. But,
Well, he's a forward, yeah,
but still, like Cahoon is 23 years old, first season in the league, 37 points. That's still respectable numbers.
That's very respectable, yeah.
And you've got a fifth, so basically it's Mata for Cahoon. And I think, like you said, I don't know if Chicago have like some other perspective on Mata, but I think that this trade would have a clear winner with Pittsburgh, especially that Cahoon is like a low salary that's potentially going to be their third center, and like really have some upside for them.
Yeah.
Compared to an injured player.
Didn't Chicago get Brandstrom as well? Or no, it wasn't Brandstrom. Wait, Yori Karyu or whatever his name is. I mean, yeah, they've got these guys. It's like I don't really understand why Mata was a definite need for them. I just don't really get it. I don't know what they see. You know, maybe it'll work out. And but I saw this crazy quote though. Sullivan, the GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins, said that they needed to make cap space, and so they either were gonna move Mata or
Johnson.
Johnson. It's like Mata's not. I don't think Mata's great, but he's not a pylon. You know, it's like how are these two players in the same discussion?
I don't know.
Like Johnson's not even an NHL player in my mind. If it was Johnson for like Cahoon and a fifth, I would have been like going insane. But at least this is a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with what you said. Just imagine.
Right. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy and all, and he's good, fun guy to hang out with, but he's not a great hockey player comparatively. So, but yeah, and then for the last of our trades, unless you had anything to add, or
that's fine. We can go ahead with the next one.
So we got Justin Braun for a second in 2019 and a third in 2020. This is another one. Like Philadelphia, like I said, I think I said they are blowing up. They're not blowing it up, but they're really making a lot of moves and kind of altering the look of their squad on the ice. Justin Braun's not a bad defenseman again, but is like a pretty high 2019 pick. I think it was like in the 40s or something. And it's like, it's not a bad pick at all. And then a third, and then Justin Braun's not young. He's not like
a point producer.
He's not got this big aspect of his game that he really shines in my opinion. Like you said, he's not really a point producer, and visibly he wasn't really great defensively either this year with a -14, 2 goals. It's kind of like what, like just what, like what do you see in this? Like what really pushes you to make this deal? I don't think it's smart asset management. It's not the kind of thing that's gonna kill you, but if you keep making these kinds of deals, then you're really gonna dry up your prospect pool because you're not making those picks. And who knows, like. I take the Andrew Shaw deal with the Canadians. Like the Canadians got this guy Andrew Shaw, but then one of those picks, it was a second rounder, ended up being DeBrincat. And it's like, what if it's like Justin Braun for like some DeBrincat comparable? It's like how much of a disaster is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd take Andrew Shaw over Justin Braun in a heartbeat. It's like, I just don't understand what they're doing here.
But I'd take DeBrincat over Shaw in a heartbeat as well. But
obviously, yeah.
I think that you summed it up. I do not see how they think that Braun is worth a second and a third. Like that to me is just like a steal from the Sharks. Like
it's really perplexing.
This guy's old, doesn't produce points, and like I don't know, like.
Let me look up Justin
salary maybe
Braun cap friendly. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. 3.8 million.
That's
so almost
good.
4 million.
Man, they're making some space as well, and getting
Yeah,
picks.
exactly. So they just signed Carlson, and now they're clearing 3.8 mil. Like, what?
That's a
I mean,
good move.
Philadelphia, like,
That's a good
yeah, that's a
move for
great move.
sure.
That's a great, like, maybe, like San Jose have low key been really fleecing a lot of people. Like, with the Carlson deal and everything. Like, well, now that Carlson resigns, actually, Ottawa gets a pick in return because that
Yeah.
was one of the conditions on one of the conditional picks. But still, that was a great deal that they got to wrestle Carlson out of San Jose. And didn't they get traded Hoffman and then flip him and got a
Yeah.
better deal?
Yeah.
Like, what are these guys are just out here ripping everyone off. Maybe
That's so true.
maybe if San Jose calls your team, you should hang up the phone because like I'm thinking more and more about it, and I mean there's a reason that they're so old but they're still competitive.
Yeah,
It's great management right there.
definitely.
It's great asset management. Props to San Jose, man.
Yeah, definitely on this one. Props to you. And I think that
Yeah.
concludes the trade portion. Unless you had something else to mention.
No. I think we're pretty much good on the trades. And
Um,
as more trades start rolling in, we'll
yeah, of
tackle
course.
those as they come.
Let's get into the third section and the final one for this episode. Last night was the NHL awards, and as you all know, every year there's a new NHL. I don't know about you, Lou, but I usually buy each and every one of them. And this one is Austin Matthews. And to all Maple Leafs fan, congratulations on getting your boy on the cover. And I don't know if you saw the trailer, but it's actually pretty sick with new features that involve, like, I think this one is going to be mainly focused on updates on shooting. So, like, I think I saw, like, a 5-hole shot, which is, like, something we could never do in NHL. And, like, the classic drag and pull Matthews shot and stuff. So, I don't know if you saw the trailer or want to comment on that, but I just say props to you, Matthews, for getting your face on the cover.
I mean, personally, I'm more one for like the GM modes and everything. I think that's a great. Like, I'll just like get lost in that game mode in NHL. But I mean, for me, I think that the NHL games are well in need of innovation because and it's hard to pump out a game every year and have every game feel like a new game.
Yeah.
But I'm obviously I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's pretty cool because I'm just a supporter of Canadian hockey in general, and I think that it's great that Toronto Maple Leaf is on the cover of the NHL game, and I mean he deserves it as well. Like Matthews, I think often doesn't get enough props for just how good he is at scoring and everything. People say, oh, he's soft or whatever. Like he's a special player, so he definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
And so, moving on, we had the NHL awards, and I don't know if you want to read out all these awards because obviously there's some of them where it's like it's not the pinnacle of all things, but I think one of the controversial or not controversial, one of the ones that is worth discussing is the Vezina, and obviously I'm a goalie, so like this is always going to be interesting to me, but Vasilevsky, who really crapped the bed in the playoffs, got the Vezina trophy. But when you look at the regular season that he had, it's no real surprise that he got the Vezina. But, do you think that maybe his performance in the playoffs could have been taken into consideration? I know it's not supposed to, but when I saw what happened in the playoffs, I was kind of thinking that it was going to go to someone else, like maybe Ben Bishop or something.
Yeah. I would... I mean, he did play really well. It's hard to say. Like, he's still, like, his stats are, like, pretty good. Like, 2.4 goal against average, 9.25 percentage. Like, that's amazing. Like, but I was thinking maybe Bishop.
I mean,
like,
I would have picked Bishop personally. I think Bishop was so outstanding this year.
Yeah, I think so too. But like this guy got 39
and he really
wins on
dragged
53
that team to
games.
the playoffs.
But yeah, Yeah.
What? Well, yeah. I mean, I can't get angry at the pick, but I thought that maybe it would have maybe his performance in the playoffs would have lost him that. But then we got Kucherov with a heart.
Yeah, I think
It's
that
like,
was
yeah, okay.
a good pick because like you've got Crosby, Kucherov, and McDavid, all guys that didn't go far in the playoffs.
But I mean, I think McDavid. Personally, I would have picked McDavid just because it's like, what are the Oilers doing? Like the Oilers are a total clown fest, and
Yeah,
McDavid is like just
the
every day
MVP.
he wakes up and he drags the corpse of that team,
He
and
does.
it's like poor guy, give him something,
Yeah.
give him something to feel good about.
Another
He
one
he
that's
kind of deserves, but Kucherov also deserves it. So
another one I want to mention is like Don Sweeney, and I remember mentioning this on the episode about the deadline talk. Um, for all of you that don't know, Don Sweeney is the general manager for the Boston Bruins. Um, he traded Coyle and Johansson, all guys that, in my opinion, made a big difference for the Bruins because that's transformed their third line, and I think it helped them to get into the finals. Like, and I
yeah,
think that's a good pick.
they got away from like that one line identity where it's like the one line is always doing it all.
Yeah,
Like it pulled them away and gave them more depth. I definitely think that's a good pick. And sort of hand in hand, you got the GM and then you got the coach,
yeah,
Barry Trotz. Well, I think that's like undeniably
yeah,
coach of the year. I mean, he just gave that entire team a facelift and like really created an identity around them. And I guess they got swept in the second round, but I don't think anyone expected them to make the playoffs. So, congratulations to Barry Trotz. He's got that Stanley Cup with the Capitals, and it's funny to think that like a couple years ago, because the Capitals couldn't get out of the second round, people thought that Barry Trotz wasn't that great of a coach. I think he's really showing that he's one of the
yeah.
best coaches in the NHL. If
Uh,
not, well, this year the best coach in the NHL.
yeah, yeah. I think that was a good pick. Although I would have liked, like, yeah, I think he's good. Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say maybe
You know what?
Brindamore or Berube a bit. But like,
Yeah, if the Habs made the playoffs, Julian might have been in that talk.
yeah,
And they should have been with 96 points, but I'm not gonna turn the knife for that one.
yeah. Let's not go there.
Still not over it. Okay. And then speaking of awards, I think everyone probably saw this. Carey Price, God, I love that man.
Yeah,
You,
he is
you know,
our
he, he
goalie.
had a he's a Montreal Canadian, and it's great. It's a great thing. He he met this fan earlier in the year whose mother passed away from cancer, and he sort of made this kid stay because the mom's promise was, I'm gonna get you to meet Carey Price. So he met Carey Price after practice, and signed his thing and had a hug together. It was a really good moment. And he came out at the awards to meet the same kid, and it was just a really great moment. Like, you often we see athletes as just like these one-dimensional, just kind of like robots. Like, go out on the ice, like these are your stats, this is what you're good at, whatever. But those are the kind of moments that show that hockey's like so much more to so many other people.
Yeah,
And the look on the kid's face is like pretty priceless. And
yeah.
I didn't even mean to make a pun there, but you got what I mean.
Whoa.
It's a pretty great moment.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I think that was like one of the highlights from the awards show. But I think that one guy that's enjoying his last week or so is Ryan O'Reilly. Like, think about how many trophies this guy has. Like,
Dude,
holy shit,
this guy's just he's probably had the best week in hockey.
racking it up, eh?
Yeah, he's just getting more and more silverware there, and that's I mean, you know what? Again, it's like a great thing because I remember in Buffalo, like, and this speaks to the toxic atmosphere. It's just like it seems like there's poison in that room, but he said in Buffalo that he just lost his love for hockey, and now he's like, "Hey MVP, hey Stanley Cup, hey Selke," it's like he's just winning everything, and it's he's got a smile on his face, and it's good to see. Also, he's such a humble guy as well.
Yeah,
So really seems like a great thing for him to finally get the recognition that he deserves.
yeah. I think that this year is gonna bring his name to the spotlight a bit. And
Mm.
another guy that's gonna get some spotlight is Elias Peterson. Like this guy's got a Calder first
Oh
year.
yeah.
Like, do you think there was a race between Bennington and him, or like?
I mean, the Calder, you're not supposed to take into consideration. Like again, these are more for the regular season, and part of me thinks that maybe that shouldn't be the case. But I mean, like Pedersen, he's like so unreal. You
Yeah,
know, and if you only take the regular season, I think it's no competition. If you take the playoffs, then I'd say that it's pretty like 50-50. But I mean, let's be honest, like no one was surprised that this guy won the Calder. Like he's just so talented, and Vancouver's really lucky to have this guy. I think that Vancouver, low key, might be a good team next year. Like they've had a rough time. If they sign
a
maybe a
few.
couple guys in free agency, or maybe they don't even need to sign a couple guys because they got like Pedersen, they got
Besser
Bo Horvat's good, Besser, and they got Quinn Hughes.
coming up. They've
I
got good
mean,
guys, man. Like,
it doesn't feel like a bad team, does it? And Markstrom seemed better this year as well. Demko is meant to be the goalie of the future. We'll see how good he plays this year, but maybe they can split games. I don't feel like Vancouver's a bad team, honestly. Like they need a little bit of depth. I think the one thing that might kill them would be their blue line, but they just re-signed Edler, who's not hitting the free agent market
but he's
either.
not that good either. Like, he is a pillar for
No, but
them, but like,
yeah. Well, so what I'm saying is like at least he stabilizes things.
exactly.
Like defense was never gonna be like Vancouver's strong point. But I think Pedersen winning the Calder is kind of representative of Vancouver maybe turning the corner a little bit, and I wouldn't be surprised if Vancouver was way more competitive this year.
Yeah, I think that's something we can expect um, from
It's
them.
good for Canadian hockey.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like, let's go Canadian. Like,
Yeah, after seeing Calgary bomb it in the first round, I want to see I
that
want to see
hurt.
Canadian teams and Winnipeg as well. It's like I want to see Canadian teams having success here. You know,
Yeah,
let's see the Leafs beat the Bruins. Let's see let's see Calgary Vancouver series like there was a couple years ago. I remember that was a great series.
yeah, that was an amazing series actually. And I think final two we can mention is the Bill Masterton with Robin Leonard and the Norris Trophy for Mark Giordano. I think that the Masterton was like right on the dot for Leonard. For
Yeah,
people
for
that
sure.
don't know, he's had like troubles with depression, alcoholism. Like he's got a real like mental battle on top of like other stuff. So I just think it's good that people are recognizing that and that he's putting his story out there. And I think he's just proving that anyone can become what they want to achieve. Even though they didn't like win the cup
Yeah,
or anything, he still like really turned his career around.
yeah, it's a motivational story. Like I think that um once again it shows like the more human side of hockey where it's like this guy, he was struggling with so many aspects of his life, and it's so brave of him to come forward with a story as well.
Yeah,
Um, and now you see him like prospering in his current situation, and he's probably found a good base in Long Island for a good little run there. And personally, I think he's always been a pretty good goalie. Like he's had ups and downs, but I think he's always been a pretty good goalie. And I'm just really happy to see him succeed through all he's been through.
yeah. And what do you think about the Norris for Giordano?
Um, I mean, the Norris isn't really for the best um overall defenseman. I say it's like the best offensive defenseman. It's like, when you see all these defensemen putting up points and winning the Norris, like it's no secret that it's more sort of inclined towards offensive defensemen. I would have really put Hedman. Like I think that Hedman's probably the. I think people will disagree with me on this, but I think that Hedman's potentially the best defenseman in the NHL right now. I think he's just like such a great all around guy. But I mean, no knock on Giordano. Like he's great. And at some point, it's just comparing, apples and apples. It's like, every one of these guys is great, and it could go to every one of these guys. So, uh, I think it's a fair pick, and it's at least it's some consolation for him with again the Flames bombing it out in the first round.
Plus, he's Canadian.
Good Canadian kid, eh?
Yeah, I think that, like you said, like he's a really good defenseman, especially like offensively, and he's also good defensively. So I think he's we had that trend with like Carlson, who was more like only offensive. Now he's like more two-way type Giordano, and I think that's
Yeah.
a good pick, like you said, for this year's Norris Trophy. I think that those trophies are the ones that like require a bit of like debate. At least the ones
Yeah.
that I'm more knowledgeable about. I
And
don't
they're
know what
always going to
else.
be split, so.
Maybe you want to talk about another one, or should we like end this right here?
Well, I think that we've pretty much gone over all of the ones that
Lady Bing,
they were pretty.
Barkov over O'Reilly. Just imagine if that guy would have won that one.
I mean, at some point, he's got to leave some silver for the rest of them.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think, well, one thing that I'm starting to think about is like for the Selkie, I want to see like more because this I think this is a step in the right direction basically because Ryan O'Reilly, although he does put up points, like he's really great. Like he's legitimately great defensively.
Yeah.
Like I remember one year, for example, Anze Kopitar won the Selkie, and like Kopitar is not great at defense. He's more like an offensive guy who's not bad at defense. Like basically to win the Selkie, you got to be a good center usually and not be bad at defense and put up a lot of points. But the Selkie is more about the defensive side of the game, and I like to see a guy like a defensive stalwart like O'Reilly, who only had 3 goals up until he went on that heater in the final in the playoffs. I like to see him, winning that kind of thing. But for the Lady Bing, I mean, Barkov, I haven't really, interested myself too much in his off-ice stuff because, he's playing in Florida. It's like, I know he's a great player, but I'm not exactly following that team all the time. But from all I hear, he's a great guy and he, deserves it because I think, he's obviously a high caliber player and he seems to, be involved with the community and everything. I don't know if you saw. I saw like he went out with like Pavel Barber just to like film a random YouTube video, and it's like you don't see guys usually doing that, like interacting with the community, unless it's like some sort of brand deal or something. I don't know. It might have been, but either way, I think he's a great player, and it's scary because Florida's in the same
Exactly.
division as Montreal. And it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, what if Buffalo's good next year? Because Buffalo being good is not really that far out of the question. I think. Like, remember when they put together like 13 wins in a row this year? Like, they showed flashes of being a good team.
We're gonna have a real battle to the end, like this year, man.
Like imagine they put up more than 96 points and they don't make it again. Like, let's think about it. Like, the Senators, they're not going to be good.
No.
The Red Wings are not going to be good, although they're not doing that bad. The Sabres could. Let's see the Panthers sign Bobrovsky and Panarin. It's like, rip our lives. And then you got the Maple Leafs, Bruins, and Lightning. What is this?
Oh, man.
It's a very unfortunate day to be in the Atlantic Division right now.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to get shipped to the West.
We're going to get traded.
Oh, man. I don't know what's going to happen next year, but I'm just hoping we make it. I just want to go and see a game, man.
I want some playoff hockey to talk about.
Yeah.
And I want to see like some historic like Boston Montreal or Boston Toronto. Like, I want to see one of those historic series. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Either way, all we can do is hope
Yeah, all we can do is hope, man. Just like that
and
Avengers
pray.
meme. It's like that Avengers
Yeah,
meme.
exactly.
Don't give me
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, exactly. Uh,
But I think this
that's
is
what's gonna happen in free agency if they sign
oh my
anyone. I'm gonna
gosh.
be like, don't give me any hope. Don't do it.
Oh man, we're gonna need to sign.
We signed
someone,
Panarin. No, don't give me hope. Don't do it.
I just imagine. He
That'd
said
be
he,
great.
he liked Montreal, but hey, that's gonna be talk for some other day.
I mean, yeah, it's we that could be a whole episode in itself, honestly.
Yeah, probably gonna be.
He's so good. Goddamn. I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we pretty much covered everything we want to cover.
Yeah.
And that's a good note to
to
wrap
end
up on.
Do you want to do the
So
outro?
yeah,
The comment
yeah.
and subscribe and stuff, like we usually do.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
All right, guys. I think that's gonna end it for this episode. So make sure we can always follow us on we're on Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube. All the links are gonna be in the description, and make sure leave comments or everything. We love interacting. So this has been a pre-draft discussion, but obviously after the draft, we're gonna have a lot to talk about as well. Hopefully some trades, also some picks, especially Montreal are gonna be making. And we can start, with the next episode coming really soon to look up to next year and, start talking about those things coming up on the horizon. So, yeah, we hope to see you very soon. I'm Louis.
And I'm Tyler.
And we'll see you guys next time.